Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the Delta Green tabletop role-playing game rules by Pelgrane Press. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. Listeners should know that this podcast may include mature language and themes. All content, including names, places, events, and etc., that may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. And now, let's get on with the show.
Good evening. Thanks, Mike. My name is James, and I will be your handler for this evening in this foyer into Delta Green. It's our first sojourn into such territory, so I hope you guys enjoy it. And we're going to do some introductions here. You'll know almost everyone here. First would be Morgan.
Hi, I'm Morgan. I play Cassandra Callahan.
That is, that is all she will be able to say about this, and you guys will understand why quite soon. All right, and next up will be Silas. He is new to the Old Ways podcast vocally, but he is a supporter. And Silas, go ahead.
Hello, this is Silas, a longtime listener, first-time caller. I will be playing Nicholas Montgomery.
Okay, and we come around to the end of the table, the proverbial end of the table, as we've never actually sat at a table. And of course, everyone will recognize the dulcet tones of Jake.
This is Jake, and I'm playing Julian Santos.
And then lastly, but definitely not leastly, you guys will, of course, all recognize the man who is usually our keeper, Mike.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me. I'm Mike, and I'll be playing Anthony Bartlett.
Fantastic. All right. So let's just dive right into it, because I don't know about you guys, but I've been really waiting for this to happen. Mike, I'm actually going to start with you. You wake up. You're not even 100% certain that could be the right term. You swim to the surface of consciousness, we'll put it that way. You've obviously been asleep before. I mean, who hasn't? But this doesn't feel the same. When you thoroughly wake up, your head is pounding, absolutely pounding. Your legs are, you don't want to say numb, but you have that pins and needles all the way up and down your leg.
Sure.
And you're upside down.
What? Look around at my surroundings.
You are currently in the back seat of an SUV. It's dark, it's duskish. You are not entirely certain where you are at. In fact, the moment you try to grasp exactly, try to remember where you're at, it's like squeezing a handful of sand. It literally slips through your fingers. There's nothing to grab onto.
Okay, so is there a way to right myself at all? Do my feet feel pinned down or trapped or held?
Not held. As you're starting to grasp where you are being held to the seat of the SUV by your seatbelt, which thankfully has done its job. You figure you could probably release it without problem. It doesn't seem mangled or damaged or anything. Okay. And the pins and needles in your legs seem to be coming from the fact that you're kind of dangling by the waist from the seatbelt, and it seems to be cutting off some of the circulation to your legs. So it feels like you might have been here for a little while.
Yeah, then I definitely want to get at least somewhat righted. The head pounding is probably due to blood circulation. So yeah, I try to get myself free.
Okay. Takes a moment or two. You manage to wrestle the buckle of your belt, and it pops free. You immediately fall to what used to be the roof of the SUV. Taking a moment to take stock, you land kind of on your shoulder, so it absorbs. You don't fall very far, but still, it's unpleasant. You look around the inside of the SUV a little, trying to take stock of your situation, trying to right not only the upside down of your body, but the upside down of your head. There are 3 other people here, 1 crumpled next to you, and 2 in the front seat, both being held in place by seatbelts.
Okay. I'm going to ask a really weird question. Did the vehicle flip over?
That's what it looks like. It looks like you were in an upside down SUV.
Shit. Okay, so I immediately look at the other passengers. I try to get an eyeball on them.
All right, which one are you looking towards first?
I guess, what seat am I in? Am I in the driver's seat, passenger seat, back?
You are in back driver's side.
Okay, so I'll look. Is there anyone in the back seat with me?
There is. In the dimness of the dusk here, a gentleman he's wearing a blue shirt, black pants, and he's kind of held in place by his seatbelt, and it looks like something else is attaching him to the handle of the inside of the door.
Handcuffs?
Looks like.
Okay. All right. I'm going to reach over and try to get an idea whether or not he's got a pulse.
Takes you a moment. You haven't done this for a little while. It's been since you had med training, but
Okay.
He's got a pulse. It's strong. It's steady.
All right. Good. Where's the driver?
Driver is in the driver's seat right ahead of you. It's hard for you to see because of where you're at. You'd have to kind of crane your head around or even crawl into the front seat a little bit, but you can see the person in the passenger seat.
Okay. So who's the occupant in the passenger seat?
Gentleman with short brownish hair, looks like glasses because they're kind of hanging off of his face.
Okay.
Passed out, wearing a gray sweater. You can't really see his legs too well.
Yeah, everything's topsy-turvy. My door, can I get to the handle on my door and get it open?
Pretty easily.
So I'm going to do that because I think the first thing that Anthony wants to do is he wants to extricate himself from the vehicle.
A good idea. Okay, so you, after just a moment or two of wrestling with the door handle to reverse the mechanics of the door, and that you manage to open it. You crawl out. Ground is warm and sandy. You see scrub brush ahead of you.
Okay, when I get out of the vehicle, I'm just going to take just 2 breaths at least to get righted, even if it's just being on all fours to try to steady myself before I try to stand up onto my feet.
Absolutely. Okay, so you take a moment or two to right yourself internally as well as externally. While you're taking a moment, Morgan, or rather Cassandra, you manage to pull yourself out of the La Brea tar pit of unconsciousness, and you hurt. There's something wet on your face, and you are upside down.
Okay.
There's a cracked windshield in front of you, and outside you can see it looks to be about dusk.
I am in the same vehicle?
Well, there's you look around, there is a person standing outside, and there's somebody sitting in the passenger seat next to you, upside down, and that's all you can see at the moment.
Okay. Am I able to work my belt open? I'm assuming I'm still belted in.
You are still belted in. The airbag hangs from the steering wheel, limp and cold.
Is the person in the passenger seat alive?
Are you checking for a pulse?
Sure, I should.
All right. It takes you a little while. At first, you're like, oh shit, I don't feel anything. And then after a few minutes, you're like, wait, no, other side under the ear. You do manage to get a very fluttery pulse, but it's there. He doesn't seem to be like he's dying or anything.
That's good. Then I'm going to work my belt open and try to exit the vehicle.
Okay. Anthony, you hear a thud come from the SUV.
Turn around.
And Cassie, you let out an involuntary groan as your body hits the ground.
Yeah.
You can only see clearly out of one eye currently. You are noticing that whatever that wet is on your face is running in your left eye.
I'm assuming it's blood. I reach my hand up to where the wetness is and I pull it back.
There is blood on your face. Yeah, it looks like you've maybe hit your head on the steering wheel or something.
I curse under my breath.
I'm going to come back over to the driver's side. I'm right near the driver's side of the vehicle anyways. Hey, you all right? You all right?
I seem to have cut my forehead.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get the driver's door open.
Okay. With his help, between the two of you, managed to pretty easily get the door. It makes a loud scrunking sound as it opens, the panel being slightly bent, but it does open.
Yeah, just take it easy. Well, you got a lot of blood. Where is she cut at?
She has a cut above her left eye on her forehead, just about at the hairline.
I'm assuming I'm wearing some sort of coat or something on, either a hoodie or suit coat or something.
You have a jacket on. Mm-hmm.
I take it off and I hold it up to my forehead. I mentally check the rest of my body to make sure all the parts are working.
You know that all of the parts are there because there's, much like with Anthony, there is pain in almost all of them. Not a lot of pain, but that I was just previously in a car accident kind of soreness. And if you don't know what that's like, then that's so awesome for you. It's a full body kind of
achiness.
Yeah, almost like the flu.
I kind of stretch a little bit and oh man, that hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna double check her just to see if she's visually not falling over And once she seems steady enough, then I'm going to make my way around to the other side of the vehicle.
Okay. She seems pretty steady. Cassie, aside from being shaky, you have a throbbing, pounding headache right now. You assume, of course, that it's probably from that goose egg on your forehead.
Is there a first aid kit in the vehicle anywhere?
You would have to look.
Okay. We should probably get the other passengers out first.
Anthony, you're taking one side of the vehicle, and Cassie, you're taking the other, and opening the back doors.
I guess.
Are you taking the passengers?
Yeah,
Front.
I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm going to front passenger.
All right, I'll do the back passenger seat.
I probably get around to that side of the vehicle, and when she joins me on that side of the vehicle, I'm going to say, "They were cuffed, so be careful." Try to yank open the passenger door.
I mean, at least they'll come out. I mean,
Passenger door opens pretty easily, and with the sound of the passenger door opening, Nicholas, you are dragged out of the loving arms of Morpheus and back into the waking world. Your eyes feel like they've got sand on the inside of your eyelids. They've got that sandpapery feel, and you have a splitting headache. And much like the other two people that you are now standing near, you have an extreme sense of confusion as to where you are and who they are.
What happened? Who are you? I don't even necessarily know if I'm talking to anyone in particular at this point. I start looking around. There's a vehicle. Was I driving?
No.
no.
If he seems to be at least coming to consciousness, I'm going to physically help him out of the vehicle.
Okay. Nicholas, this gentleman crouches down and starts helping you with your buckle. You don't know who he is, but he seems to be intent on helping you get safely out of the vehicle. Between you and him, you manage to drop down from your seat onto what used to be the roof of the vehicle. You can now easily get out of the vehicle, but before you do, make me a search roll real quick. So your brains are still fairly rattled from whatever is going on right now. So you climb out of the vehicle with the assistance of this gentleman that just opened the door for you, and find yourself now standing on the passenger side of a flipped over SUV.
James, is he cut at all or wounded?
He doesn't seem to be, but he definitely has a bad case of Bambi legs. You can't tell if that's shock or if, much like your legs, his legs are partially numb.
Sure. I make sure that one of his hands goes to the frame of the car and say, just hang out of the car for a second. You look like you'll be all right.
All right, thanks.
Cassie, you are on your side of the vehicle as you see this unfold before you. You get to your door, the back seat, and what do?
Is the passenger, he's out of the car, not the guy I'm helping, but Nicholas, he's out of the car, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that door still open? I mean, because I'm going to climb back in the car. If that person's wearing handcuffs, we need to find the keys. Do I have any keys on me? Or
You pat yourself down. You do not find a set of keys. There are a set of keys still in the ignition of the SUV.
is there any extra keys on that? This is just the car keys.
Looks like it's just the keys that are currently stuck in the ignition.
I poke my head out of the vehicle. Hey guys, do either of you have keys in your pocket? Remove the handcuffs on the guy back here so we can get him out of the car.
I guess I'll check.
As will I.
Nicholas, you do not, but Anthony, you do find a pair of handcuff keys in your pocket.
I stop for a second and think to myself when I feel the steel of the key, why do I have handcuff keys on me?
It's a very good question.
Can you say? After just a moment of thought, I walk over to that side of the vehicle and reach down and remove the handcuff.
Jake, you are like packages in the back of a van, jostled awake.
Oh,
Somebody is doing something to your hands. Your legs have that pins and needles sensation. And you've been on, I assume, a partying bender or two in your time.
in my time.
You've woken up from those before with a vague, what did I do last night sensation. This trumps all of that.
Oh, Dios, what? I start looking around.
You are currently inverted, and someone is trying to unhandcuff you from the back seat of what looks like a flipped over SUV.
What do I remember last?
Thinking back, you remember getting to Las Vegas, but you don't know how long ago that was, and you're not sure what day it is now.
Fucking Las Vegas.
But you do know that you You don't have any recent memories.
I will take my time, figure out what's going on before I make any rash moves. But I'm being unhandcuffed, right?
Anthony, you are unhandcuffing him currently?
Yeah.
I will take a look at the person unhandcuffing me.
You know, he was handcuffed for a reason. We should probably re-handcuff him.
Yeah. I hand the handcuff key to the driver. There, you handcuff him. I go to the back of the vehicle.
You go to the back of the vehicle? Okay.
I want to see if there's anything in the trunk we can use, a blanket, a first aid kit, etc.
I will get to you in just 1 second. Morgan, what are you doing?
I reach over and I re-handcuff Jake's character, since I don't actually know anybody's names yet.
Okay. In fact, that dawns on you as you're handcuffing him. You are currently putting the handcuffs on a man whose name you do not know. You were handed the handcuffs by a man whose name you do not know.
I look at Jake's character. Sorry, dude. You were already handcuffed. I'm just re-handcuffing you. We can figure it all out outside the vehicle. And then I pop out of the vehicle and open up the passenger door to help him get out.
Yeah, no problem, lady.
Lady? What? Lady?
You land on the roof of the car, and with a little bit of assistance, she helps you scooch out into a standing position outside the SUV.
When I land on the roof, let me look around. What does it look like in the inside here?
There are various things on the roof of the car. It looks like that they were set around the inside of the vehicle when it flipped over. There's a large duffel bag towards the back here. It looks like the glove compartment is open and there's stuff in it, but the stuff didn't fall out.
Is there any debris on the roof of the vehicle?
Define debris. What are you looking for?
Is there anything small, something that could possibly be used as a makeshift pick or something?
Oh my god.
Not that you've seen, but you do definitely do a sweep of the inside of the vehicle to take a look. And in the glove compartment, you do see that there's a knife.
Okay.
But you don't think you could get to it before she would see it.
Yeah. All right.
I'm watching him carefully.
Right. He was handcuffed.
Well, of course.
Nicholas, you see the gentleman on the other side of the vehicle swing around to the back of the vehicle, and you've once again regained your footing, and someone else stands up outside of from the inside of the back of the vehicle.
All right, so I will assume, going with the current theme, I don't recognize him either.
You do not, sir.
All right, this is a little unusual for me. Do I have any recollection of how I got to wherever I am into the car with a bunch of people I don't know, or... Yeah, trying to put my head back together.
You do not. When you attempt to dig into recent memories, when you try to remember back, you say to yourself, I'm going to remember back 4 hours ago. It's a gray cotton candy. There's no memory there. It's akin to, have any of you ever had surgery?
Yes.
Yes.
The general anesthetics, that time period, right when you come back out of it, that when they were like, hey, do you remember anything that happened? And honestly, it could have been a John Philip Sousa marching band going through with burning torches and you wouldn't remember a thing. That's the sensation that you get when you attempt to remember anything recently, like grabbing a handful of water.
All right. Well,
Great.
they appear to be busy doing things. Look around. Did we crash into something? Where are we at? Just survey the scene. What's going on here?
All right. Nicholas, you look around and it's, again, about dusk. The sun is just below the horizon line and the sky is just starting to turn those special colors that it only turns once a day. And the air is getting a little nippy. You would say it's about 50 degrees, somewhere in there. The surroundings are dry, sandy. There's small mesquite trees and scrub brush around you almost as far as the eye can see. Because as far as the eye can see, there is mountains on both sides of the road, off in the distance, miles and miles and miles away. You are on a 2-lane highway. It looks like you didn't run into anything, but you do see that the front passenger tire is shredded.
Okay, that's something. I'm interested in putting together whatever I can, but if that's going to take a little while, I'm happy to sit with my thoughts for a little while.
Okay. So yeah, you are considering the surroundings. It's a very dry, obviously desert area. So, Anthony, you get around to the back of the vehicle. Again, this is all relatively simultaneous. Get around to the back of the vehicle and just a moment or two of wrestling with the handle, it pops open. The hatch opens up. It gives you a feeling almost of some sort of mechanical mouth, the way the way the SUV is flipped over and the way the hatch opens. In the darkness of the maw, you see a couple of things. One, you do see a first aid kit that is bungeed to the wall, the inside wall of the vehicle. You see...
Yeah, you said there was a bag in the back.
There is a box here that is open. It's dark colored. Hard to tell because of the dusk. It's got symbols painted on it, and it is open, and there's a greenish gray plate inside, about the size of a dinner plate.
Okay. Well, the first thing I'm probably going to do is grab the duffel. So reach in and grab that, and then the first aid kit as well, and then I'll kind of lean to the right, I guess would be, if I'm facing the front of the vehicle, towards the driver and motion with the first aid kit, like, here.
The guy at the back motions to you with a first aid kit.
Perfect. I throw my hands up so he can toss it at me.
Yeah, I pitch it to her.
Easy catch. Not like he was throwing a brick at you. You crack it open and there's bandages. It's your basic first aid kit. Bandages, band-aids, aspirin, rubbing alcohol, antiseptics.
And after that, I'm going to glance in the duffel bag.
In the duffel bag, you find a folder containing a substantial amount of loose leaf papers. You find a small-ish brown leather book, a large text-looking book. It looks like a large textbook kind of a book. I mean, literally, it looks like a college textbook almost.
Okay.
And a small, thin pamphlet-style book with a odd leather cover.
I mean, I guess I'll glance at the loose paper because that seems probably a little bit easier to just quick look at rather than a fucking calculus textbook or something.
You flip through the loose leaf paper. It looks like a lot of these papers are notes about some kind of group or organization. And then you would say about 2/3 of these papers are missing people printouts from like the internet, from the FBI, and not all of them, but a good portion of them are circled in black Sharpie.
Circled, huh? So I'll go back, I guess, towards the driver's side where we pulled the first person out at, and then check on him. They were on the passenger side, sorry. The guy from the passenger seat, yep. I'll go check on him.
Nick, the guy from the back, comes around with a duffel bag. He seems to be giving you a once-over, kind of examining you as if to see whether you're injured or okay.
Yeah, hey man, you all right?
I think so. I don't think I'm bleeding. I'm definitely shook up, and I think I'll be okay.
Good. There's a first aid kit on the other side of the car if you need anything.
Anthony, you notice while he's talking, he just kind of absentmindedly pushes his sleeves up a little bit, and he's wearing a copper bracelet. It looks kind of old. It's got some tarnish around the edges.
Okay. I give the bracelet just a quick glance, and it's the first thing that... I guess in the dusky hue of everything that's kind of bathed over this scene, copper is gonna pop a little bit.
Yeah. As you notice it, you actually look down to your left arm and pull your sleeve back. You are also wearing one.
Weird.
So, since he's brought attention to that, do I notice? I assume if I'm wearing a bracelet for more than like a minute, I didn't notice.
Yeah. You are, when he draws attention to his, you look down and notice, now that you've gotten your faculties about you, that you are also wearing one. They look a lot like the medical bracelets, that kind of C-shaped, just like a bent piece of metal that's rounded on both ends, as opposed to like the medical bracelets with the chain. And as you look down at it, there are symbols inscribed into it.
Okay, can I get a rough idea what those symbols are? Are they some sort of alphabet?
I would have the same questions.
Mike, you look at them and you can make me an occult roll if you want to. Nicholas, you can make me an anthropology roll.
Oh, that would be a fumble, sir.
Oh no. Look at the symbols, you're trying to figure out what they are. Recall seeing these very symbols on like a rock album, like a metal album from your teen years.
Oh, hey, this is Led Zeppelin's Zoso. They must have done a commemorative bracelet. Yeah. I probably went to a concert or something.
Right. Nicholas, you looking down at these, you have seen symbols like these before when you were in Europe, in the Ukraine. You traveled through, you spent about 3 months there on a study, and you remember seeing some symbols like this on that trip.
Okay, but they are symbols, not necessarily a particular, well, I guess not a particular current language.
Doesn't seem to be a particular current language. If it is a language, it's not one that you have dealt with before.
Can I take it off and more thoroughly inspect it?
Sure. Yeah, you take it off and kind of look at it. It looks older. All of the edges are tarnished, and some of the lettering inside is slightly tarnished. It has that kind of greenish, weathered look to it. But the rest of it is copper. You notice, kind of odd, there's tarnish on the inside where it was in contact with your arm. There's tarnish there too, which usually for jewelry, the tarnish doesn't show up on the part where it rubs in with skin. But you do notice that. Mike, you also notice as you're looking at this bracelet on your arm more closely that it is likewise tarnished. It's hard to judge the age of them.
All right. I'm going to step away from that side and go back towards the driver and just, on a lark, see if she has one.
Yeah, Cassie, he comes around the corner and he seems to be examining you specifically. Yes, she is wearing one. You see it, the glint of the metal from underneath the sleeve of her coat.
I hold up my arm and point to it and then kind of get her attention. Do you know where we got these?
I look down at my arm, and I'm assuming I have no idea where we got these, right, James?
It's a complete blank. Looking down and seeing it on your arm is really disorienting because you have no idea where it came from. You've never seen it before, and there it is on your arm like a piece of jewelry that you would wear ordinarily.
Okay. I look at Mike's character and I'm like, oh, I don't know you. What's your name?
That's a good question, James. Do I remember who I am?
You remember who you are. Yes, each of you remembers who you are.
Okay,
As in, you remember who you are individually.
Sure. My name's Anthony.
I'm Cassie. Do you know why we were together?
I mean, no. I can't remember why we're here or what we're doing here, but did she get something on the cut? Did she get that taken care of?
Did you take care of your cut?
Yeah, I would have used some rubbing alcohol.
You don't see any 3-letter acronyms on the vehicle.
Am I wearing something that identifies anything specifically?
How do you wear your badge?
On my hip.
The woman that's looking at you right at the moment is wearing a badge on her hip, a U.S. Marshal's badge. Mike, how do you wear your badge?
Probably very similarly.
And the guy who came around the front of the vehicle is also wearing a badge on his hip. They also both have pistol holsters.
I'm assuming all three of us are wearing guns.
Just you and the guy you were talking to, Anthony.
Can I identify what his badge is?
Oh yeah, you're wearing one very, very, very similar.
Okay. So I look at Anthony and kind of point down to his badge. I believe we're on the same side.
And look down at the badge, because I probably haven't even thought about it.
And I show him mine.
She is also carrying a U.S. Marshal's badge.
Does it click for me then? Or does it still seem very cotton ballish?
It's all still very cotton ball. You still have no idea who she is, but you do now know that she is apparently playing for the good guys.
All right. I just nod to her and say, okay, there's some paperwork and some books in back.
Okay. I look at Jake's character and, all right, Julian, why don't you just sit down right here and don't move? I'll be back to talk to you. And I go around the back of the car to go look at the books and stuff that are back there and the paperwork.
Cassie, you get around to the back of the SUV, and sure enough, there's a duffel bag back here, partially unzipped. There is a box, very dark colored, with light or white colored symbols painted on it, and it is open. Looks like the inside is padded and has a cutout area, and inside that cutout area is looks like a greenish gray disc about the size of a dinner plate, covered in symbols.
Do I recognize the symbols at all?
You do not. It's about 18 centimeters across.
What does it look like the plate's made out of?
It looks like it's made out of some sort of glazed clay or stone.
Does the box have a top on it so I can close the top of it?
It does. It's hinged, yes.
All right, I go ahead and hinge it.
All right, you go ahead and close it.
I'm not going to.
You're not going to touch the plate itself?
No.
Okay. When you close the box, you notice that there's large globs of wax around the edges of the box where the two halves of the box meet. As you close it, like big chunks of it fall off into the back of the SUV.
So it was originally sealed shut, correct?
That's what it looks like.
So I'm assuming our problems came forth once that box was opened. All right, I'm gonna take a look at the file folder or actually the leather-bound pamphlet. Can I?
A leather-bound pamphlet?
Yes.
Okay, you grab the leather-bound pamphlet. It is a very old book, mid-19th century maybe, and it is called The People of the Monolith. It has a very odd leather consistency on the cover. The inside cover has an inscription. 2 inscriptions, rather.
Can I read them?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They're both signatures.
What are the signatures?
The first one says Carlisle, 19. The second one says O'Shea, 26.
I feel a little version of deja vu from other places, but my past life.
It's probably just whatever happened to you in the accident.
All right, and what's in the pamphlet itself?
It looks like an epic poem. It's getting a little dark to read. It looks like poetry.
Okay, I put that back into the box. I didn't find anything noteworthy in that. What about the file folder?
File folder, rifling through it, you find the first piece of paper that you come across. It looks like a prisoner transport form.
What does it say?
Looks like you are taking a prisoner to someplace called Calipatria Prison in Southern California, at least according to this piece of paper.
And who's the name of the prisoner?
This is Julian Santos.
And what is he charged with?
It actually doesn't say. Give me a bureaucracy roll, actually.
All right.
Standing here in the middle of the desert and making a bureaucracy roll.
Oh, I passed it. No, I didn't. Wait. Yeah, I passed it. 20% success.
20%? Okay. That in itself, the fact that there's no charges on here is a little suspect. Usually there's a list of charges when somebody is transferred to another state or even just transferred to another prison.
So maybe a little, somebody doesn't want us to know what this person did, or maybe this person didn't do anything at all.
Honestly, what's going through your head right now, it could be either one. And you also notice that amongst the prisoner transport form at the bottom in the notes section, that his personal belongings are to be delivered to a separate place altogether.
What place is that? Does it say?
EAFB.
Do I know what that stands for?
You could make me one more bureaucracy roll
Okay.
and impress me.
I get another success.
Another success? Well, how big of a success? What's the point spread here? 23 under 38?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know that AFB usually means Air Force Base. That's usually the abbreviation for Air Force Base. So maybe Edwards Air Force Base?
Okay.
It's a pretty popular anagram for that.
I wonder why his stuff would be going to Edwards Air Force Base.
Especially if he's going to a prison.
Yep. I pocket that piece of paper.
All right.
Put the rest back, and I go around the side of the vehicle to where a prisoner's at.
Okay. She comes back around to the side of the vehicle next to Anthony and Julian, carrying a duffel bag.
Yeah, so I've got a prisoner transport form for you, and I point at Julian. But it doesn't say what you did. But I do want to know why they're transporting your personal belongings to Edwards Air Force Base.
I think I'll plead the fifth.
Okay. Then I'll be inclined to keep those cuffs on you. And yeah, I go throw the duffel on. I have the duffel, right?
Mm-hmm.
We probably want to get the box with that weird plate so nobody randomly comes and gets it too, but at some point.
Hey, James.
Yeah?
Do I recognize that duffel?
That duffel?
Yeah.
You do not recognize that duffel, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that duffel is not ringing any sparks of familiarity at all. Old or new.
I guess I'll have to keep trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay. So, Cassie, do you go around to the back of the SUV again?
To go get the back?
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably should.
Nicholas, you see her head back. What are you doing?
So I've been watching a little bit, puzzling through things. Is it clear to me that everybody is just as lost and confused as I am?
From their countenance and the way they're handling themselves, you can say with your human intuition that, yeah, they are walking on eggshells, as it were. No one seems to know where they are or who the rest of you are.
All right. So, well, at least two of them are in the general vicinity of each other. I'll head over there. Does either one of you know how we got here?
To be honest, no idea. I just know that we're here. I look around. Wherever here is.
Desert. Big old desert, mountains on both sides. As it's now getting on, not dark yet, but as that deeper dusk, there is some cloud cover. It doesn't look like it's obviously going to rain, but to the northeast, some of the clouds are lit from the bottom as if there was a city off that direction, but way, way off in the distance.
There's a road here, obviously, right?
There is. And looking up and down the road, one way goes off into darkness. Looking down the road the other direction, you do see there's a light down, you figure maybe a couple of miles. A fairly bright pink light.
All right, well, I think we ought to get on the move and get off this road. Just for my own mental reconstruction, there's no other tire marks or evidence of another vehicle being here, right?
Nope. Yeah, no, you don't see any other unexplained tire tracks or anything. Just looking at your vehicle, it looks like there was a massive blowout on the front passenger tire. This looks to be, again, in the gathering gloom, maybe a 2004 Ford SUV, so not a particularly new vehicle. It is upside down and in no good condition.
All right.
But no other vehicle, no.
We ought to make a move here, Cassie, and get off this road. There's a light up ahead. Maybe we can find a gas station or something and make a call.
I poke my head around the back of the car as I'm bringing the box up. Yeah, I agree. Give me just 1 second, though, and I put down the box, and I go around to the passenger side of the car. I want to clean out the glove box.
Okay. Glove box is actually open. Inside, you find a sheathed combat knife.
Sweet.
And a can of pepper spray.
I grab both, and I'm assuming I'm wearing boots or something. I put the knife down in there.
Mm-hmm.
Put the pepper spray in my pocket.
Okay.
There's no papers or anything in there?
Just looks like papers for the vehicle, but nothing personal or anything other than that, no.
It doesn't say who the vehicle's registered to or anything?
It does not.
Okay. Is there anything else in the vehicle that we missed, like in the back seat or like something that might have fallen on the ground?
You kind of go once over in the vehicle, kind of poking around real quick. You don't see anything else inside the vehicle. No, it looks like you guys have pretty much cleaned out the inside of this car other than some dirt that looks like came in through the windows and such.
Okay. I go back to the other side of the car. I look at the guy. I don't know his name. So I don't know you. Who are you?
I'm Nick. You are?
I'm Cassie. And these guys can introduce themselves.
My character's probably just about 6 foot. I'm relatively well put together, although I'm not a hulking monster of a person. I've seemed to have semi-permanent 5 o'clock shadow, and yeah, I probably look like a cop.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say to this other gentleman, yeah, my name's Anthony, and you are?
Nick is not looking like a cop. Glasses, if you can tell in the coming gloom, maybe slightly graying hair, might be setting on a little early. Bookish might be a nice, quick description.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense with me.
Jake, do you want to do your character?
He's about average height, Hispanic of some type, mid-40s, like beard and mustache. That's about it.
You going to introduce yourself to Silas's character?
No.
Okay. Figures.
Listen, I've been arrested before, and I owe you guys nothing. Nothing. Anything I tell you can just get me in more trouble.
That's true. I can tell you nothing.
It already has just gotten you into more trouble by not talking.
Right? You're looking guilty. A quick description on Cassie, since I already introduced myself to Nick. Cassie is about 30 years old. She is not super tall. She's probably 5'6", athletically built, obviously being in the U.S. Marshals. She's got auburn reddish hair, quite a bit of freckles on her face, with blue eyes, pretty attractive. She's got her hair up in a ponytail. She looks like she's all business, though. Just randomly take somebody's handcuffs off since they don't want to talk.
Just for example, you guys have sized each other up, gotten first names at least. Who is carrying the duffel bag?
Not it.
That's fine. I'll carry the duffel bag. You deal with the prisoner.
Anthony hefts the duffel bag onto his shoulder.
And then...
Hey, Nick, would you be able to carry this box right here? Don't open it.
Sure.
Please.
It's not exceptionally heavy, right?
You heft the box. It weighs about 20 pounds.
Okay. I can carry it for a little while.
It's not going to kill you to carry it, but it's not light.
We can switch off if it hurts you.
Now that we're talking about moving stuff, I know I checked for keys early. Do I have anything in my pockets?
You pat your pockets down. You have your wallet, and that's it.
That's really odd. All right.
Oh, you do have one other piece of paper in your pocket when you dig it out, and it's a bank receipt.
Is it my bank receipt?
It seems to be, yeah.
Okay. Is it an exceptional bank receipt, or is it just a random I pulled $100 out of the ATM kind of deal?
Well, it looks like you pulled some cash out, but the bottom where it gives you the balance of your account, there is significantly more in your account than you remember having.
That would not need to be an exceptional number for that to happen, but that's...
Right. The number that's in your account right now is large enough to have a comma.
Wow. I'll assume going with the rolling theme, I have no idea how that happened, correct?
You have no idea.
Okay. I will pack that back into my pocket because I don't even know right now.
Right. You guys begin walking, I assume,
Yeah, absolutely.
towards this pink
Yeah.
light in the distance.
I mean, we're in a desert in the middle of a road. It's only going to get progressively worse to just stay here.
And you notice that the temperature has dropped by about 4 degrees since you've been out here.
I assume we're not dressed for this particular weather.
It's getting a little chilly. You're wearing jackets, but they're pretty much just light jackets. So you guys begin to walk, one foot after the other. The evening definitely draws to a close. The sun hides its face as it always does, and the rest of the heat of the day with it. It is getting darn right chilly out now. You can't see your breath exactly, but it's uncomfortable. Julian, you are especially uncomfortable because you are not wearing a jacket. You are wearing a long sleeve button-up shirt and slacks.
Right.
You yourself are a little chilly. Nicholas, you also likewise. You're not exactly dressed for this, so you're a little chilly as well. You guys walk for about 45 minutes, trudging along one footer after the other. Not only is it dark, but there's a breeze that blows through the scrub brush. You know it's just the night, but it sounds like there are whispers amongst the brush, a barely audible talking. Not words that you can pick out. It definitely doesn't do anything to lighten the mood for you. After about a good 45 minutes, if there's anything you'd like to say or do while you're drudging along, by all means, or anything you are specifically looking out for or doing.
Probably keeping an eye on the guy in cuffs and our six. I want to make sure that we're not going to get run up on by Lord knows whatever else is out here.
Keeping an eye on your 6. Good call. You keep Julian ahead of you, I assume, so that you can see where he's at.
Oh, yeah.
Julian, he's keeping you ahead of him. He hasn't, of course, pulled out a weapon or anything, but he's definitely keeping you in front.
Mm-hmm.
For all I know, he could be a non-violent criminal and we're moving him somewhere, or he could be in U.S. Marshals protective custody.
Oh, he's not.
We don't know that.
You don't know that.
I know. I got the prisoner transport form in my back pocket. He is not.
So why are we transporting him?
It doesn't say. There's no charges on the form. We were transporting him to Calipatra prison. That's where we were transporting him to, but there's no charges, which is a little fishy for my taste. But that doesn't mean he didn't do something wrong. But
Oh, I'm not.
Doesn't mean I did.
doesn't mean you did. I understand.
Yeah, Mike, you've done plenty of prisoner transport before, and you know that that's not something that they just leave off the bill, so to speak.
No, but I don't feel comfortable taking cuffs off him yet. Do I see any street signs, like any road, like highway signs or anything?
You have not passed one yet. This is pretty out in the boonies here, but you are getting closer to the light, so to whatever this light is. And in fact, that pink light is joined, now that you can see it, by a couple of other dim lights. It looks like there's a small cluster of buildings ahead of you.
Is there anything outside those buildings?
You don't see any vehicles currently.
Okay.
I've got what hopefully is a meaningless question, but
Sure.
does this road look like a normal road out in the boonies in the United States, or maybe not?
Yeah, this looks like a normal tarmac road in the U.S.
Okay.
It is kind of weathered and cracked, so it doesn't look like it sees a whole lot of use. And you guys have been out here for about 45 minutes now and have not seen another vehicle.
Okay.
Taking that into account.
Just want to double check. 'Cause
Sure.
There are deserts in other places in the world, and
Oh, absolutely.
I have no idea where I'm at.
Right, have roads. It's a viable question. After walking for about 45 minutes, you do enter the vicinity of the buildings. It is officially dark. The darkness gives way to some light coming from buildings. It looks like on your left a large building called, it looks like a souvenir shop of some sort. It's closed as it's currently after dark. It's called The What Spot, as in WHAT, with lots of question marks all over the front. It looks like curios, souvenirs, knickknacks. Anyone who's traveled in the Southwest knows that these places are aplenty. On the other side of the road, opposite that, there is a teal building that actually says diner on the top. It looks like it was designed to look like it was built in the 1950s, I'll put it that way. And attached to this building is a smaller beige building with an awning that's producing most of the light that you can see. It looks like a gas station attached to this diner, so it's kind of one long building. And then to the south, you see an L-shaped building that's the source of the pink, which is, it looks like a motel. Hard to see what it's called from where you guys are at, but yeah, you do see a motel there.
Civilization, at least.
Seems to be.
Well, that's what you call this.
That's better than sitting on the desert road.
Does the diner look open?
It sure does.
Maybe we should go talk to the people inside the diner.
Get to a phone.
Yeah,
Maybe something neat.
So who's going into the diner? Everybody?
I would think all of us.
No, I'll stay outside.
No, I don't think so.
No, you're going inside.
So you head into the diner. The inside of the diner is a wonderful homage to the 1950s.
Okay, James, is it an homage to the 1950s, or has it just not been redecorated since the 1950s?
That is a very good question and hard to tell. You can see a long steel counter. The floor is linoleum, that kind of a beige. And to answer your question, it looks like it hasn't been upkept long time. So it may have been built in the 50s and just not been kept up since then. Or it may have been built in the 70s during the 50s craze and not kept up since then, but it doesn't look recent, that's for sure. Woman looks up from a magazine. Sit wherever you guys would like. I'll be over in a minute.
You got a phone around here, ma'am?
I do, but it don't work right now. Happens all the time. Sorry.
Hey, can you tell us what town we're in?
No, this ain't a town.
Oh, okay.
Just a little fly speck. Tacoma, California. That's where you're at. She kind of chuckles, gets up from her stool and starts walking over. She grabs a pot of coffee on the way. Coffee for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Please.
She looks to the other two of you.
Yeah, I'll take some.
Yes, please.
Grabs 4 mugs. Saunters over. She looks to be about 30, 32. Long black hair pulled into a ponytail. Ready smile. She puts the coffee cups down in front of you. Pours 3/4 of the way in each one, leaving you room for cream and sugar. She's been doing this for a while. She puts the pot down in front of you guys. Here, just pour yourself.
Thank you much. I pour the coffee. Try to get folks situated.
Want anything to eat?
Yeah, you got any pie?
Haha, I do have some pie left. What kind are you looking for? I got apple, cherry, blueberry, pumpkin, banana cream.
I'd be happy to take a piece of your best cherry pie.
Coming right up. Piece of cherry pie. How about you 3?
Actually, I'll take blueberry, please.
Blueberry it is.
I'll take a sandwich. BLT.
Good choice. Anything with bacon. She jots it down on the pad. She looks over at Nick. Man for you, sugar?
Do you have a menu?
She reaches behind the counter and grabs one blindly, hands it to you. Sure. Breakfast anytime.
Flip through the menu and pick something with eggs and toast.
All right. There's a truck driver special, as they call it. 3 pieces of toast, 3 eggs, 3 pieces of bacon.
I'll probably eat about half that, but why not?
She says, all right. Grabs the menu and saunters back towards the kitchen area.
All right, so no phone.
We can check over at the motel. So none of us have cell phones on us?
Are you doing your cell phone check? Julian does not have a cell phone. Nick does not have a cell phone. Anthony, you have a phone.
Oh.
But the screen is cracked. It looks very broken. Looks like it happened in the accident. Cassie, you have a phone in your back pocket. It is not cracked, but it is dead. Like it will need to be recharged.
That figures. I'm sure I don't have a charger with me either.
Not that you've seen, but it looks like it's just a USB-C, so it's like you'd have to hunt down a charger cord and plug it in.
Okay, so what's the game plan? I'm assuming we'd go over to the motel and check that out, see if they have a phone.
Yeah, try to make contact with who we can, get some idea of how far we are out, and then get a car.
Yeah, we definitely need a vehicle.
I'm going to take a look at the paperwork while we're sipping coffee and try to get a better idea of what's happened to date and then any background on our prisoner transfer.
You take a look at the paperwork. This is definitely a prisoner transport form for one Julian Santos to be delivered to a Calipatria prison in Southern California. Doesn't say what he was charged with. It does say he was apprehended in Las Vegas, Nevada.
I kind of thumb through the file a little bit and shake my head a couple of times, but get through it with an idea of the situation and then put the papers back in the folder.
Looks like the rest of the papers that you're flipping through, there's some paperwork that looks like it has pictures of that gray-green plate that's in the box. There's a lot of pictures of missing people, and some of them are circled in Sharpie, like I mentioned. There's some pictures of various people, reconnaissance pictures, like they were taken from secret.
Okay. When I flip through the pictures, do I recognize anybody in those pictures?
Let me have an int roll.
Sure.
While he's doing that, is there a TV or anything on in here?
There is a TV up in the corner, yeah, that's currently playing, yes.
What's it playing?
It's playing the news.
No, I'm going to see what I can see on the news, if there's anything of interest.
It looks like current news stories for December 27th. The last date that you can remember clearly is probably about November 15th, November 16th, somewhere in there.
So I've lost about a month and a half.
That's what it feels like, yes.
Huh.
And that intelligence roll is 40 under 70.
40 under 70? Okay, awesome. One of the pictures, you do recognize Julian in it, and he looks like he is talking to someone, but the picture is not clear as to who the someone he's talking to is. You just see the person is wearing a suit. He's kind of 3/4 back to the camera, and it looks like he moved while the photograph was being taken because his head and shoulder part is a blur. But it looks like they're doing some sort of clandestine deal.
I passed that picture to Cassie.
Take a look. I'm assuming I recognize Julian in the photo.
Oh, yeah. He's not dressed as he is now, but it's definitely the guy sitting across from you.
Is there a date on the back of the photo or anything?
There is not.
Oh.
No timestamp.
I show the picture to Julian. I'm like, so do you recognize this meeting? Like, do you know who you're talking to in this photo?
Do I?
You do not. You don't recognize it, as in you know who you were talking to, but you do have a very unexpected feeling when you look at that photo, much like the first time you were waiting to go on a roller coaster as a little kid. That definite uneasy anticipation of what's about to happen. That feeling bubbles up in your stomach a little bit when you look at that photo. You're not sure why.
No, I don't recognize that.
Anyone who wants to make a human intelligent roll may attempt to do so now. Unless, Jake, you're attempting to hide any discomfort you're feeling.
Oh,
Well, of course I am.
Same.
I would.
I got a 93 over 65. I totally failed that roll.
You...
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 under 60.
7 under 60? Okay.
Oh, I rolled the wrong thing. My bad.
Jake, make me a persuade roll, then. We'll call it persuade. If you're trying to hide your disgust at seeing that photo.
Oh, I fumbled.
You fumbled.
I fumbled. That's what it said.
I like that. I like that sound. No, I don't like that sound. Maybe I like it.
No, I failed.
Silas doesn't catch it. Morgan, you do not catch it. Yes, it's a fumble. You catch what you think is maybe a sneer on Julian's face. Maybe he does know and he's proud of it, or he's amused by it. You definitely saw a sneer. Anthony, with a 7, you definitely note a moment of unease before he quickly tries to tuck that unease away. You can tell it takes him a moment to do so, and he has to make a conscious effort to not look disgusted, afraid.
Sure.
You're not sure what the emotion is.
Okay. Good to know.
The waitress comes back over, puts the food down in front of you, puts your 2 slices of pie, sandwich, and a breakfast down in front of each of you. Here you go, guys. Kind of leans back against the counter again and does that pinching of the bridge of the nose and rubbing her eyes a little. Will there be anything else for you?
Not yet. The motel across the way there. Any recommendation on it?
Oh, nice place. Yeah, the Sundowner Inn. It's a nice place. Patty runs it. She eats over here all the time. Of course, no surprise there.
Well, you're the only game in town, right?
She's kind of smiled. Yeah, absolutely. It's a clean place. Definitely good for a weary motorist.
That is definitely us. All right, well, appreciate it. Thank you. Maybe a little more coffee?
She tops off your cup. Enjoy the pie.
Thank you.
She walks back over to the other end of the counter to give you guys some room to eat.
Are we just sitting in a booth? How are we sitting?
I assumed you guys were in a booth.
Right. I'm assuming I'm sitting next to Julian. I take out the keys and nod over to him so I can do his handcuffs so he can eat like a normal person.
Oh, that's real nice of you.
As I take off the handcuffs, I have you note I carry a gun and I have a large knife in my boot.
Jeez. You just got a sandwich, right? Okay, I take his silverware.
Julian, he calmly reaches across the table and takes your knife and fork away.
What, don't you trust me?
No. Not right now. But I got to be honest. I'm trying to figure out what you're doing here. And I look at Silas's character.
You and me both. I seem to have figured out why the three of you are here, but I don't see where I fit in.
There's a couple of books in that duffel bag. Maybe take a look at them. You look like a guy that likes to read.
Wow.
Sure. So, I'm not necessarily looking to do a thorough investigation, but I've spent some quality time with this box over the last hour.
Yes, you have.
Is there anything noteworthy about it, or is it just a box?
Okay. As you are carrying this box, one of the things that you happen to note is that the symbols on it are definitely European, and they're pretty old. If you had a little more information to do some research, you could probably nail down where they're from. And you know that that plate that's inside this box is a lot heavier than it should be for its size. What else are you investigating about said box?
It also appears that it was sealed previously.
Looking at where the two halves of the box meet, it looks like it was sealed with what previously were large amounts of wax, but most of it has now flaked off, so there's just small remnants left.
Is that a standard thing to do, or is that something that would have been done in the past and just been left alone?
Well, with a Fortean occult, you do know that there are a couple of religions and numerous practices that will use wax to seal up something malevolent. You do know that there is a cult precedent for such a thing.
Okay, so it wasn't necessarily done just for storage, it was part of whatever rituals involved with this. And that'd be really creepy if I believed in that kind of thing.
If you believed in any of this, the hair on the back of your neck would be standing up.
Okay, but now it's just an interesting find. All right. Yeah, if there's books to look through, I'm happy to do so, but I don't know if I've got the space to do that in a booth. Have we finished up eating by this point?
Oh yeah, a couple slices of pie. Julian, you tear through your sandwich, or are you savoring each bite?
I'm savoring it, taking my time.
Okay. Taking Julian a little while to eat his sandwich. And you have eaten your fill of breakfast while looking at what you can look at. The other two of you, Anthony and Cassie, the pie was quite good, actually. The coffee has been on the burner a little long, the breakfast is a little greasy, and the sandwich is pretty good. Decent fare for a diner in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
So have we noticed, besides, I know Julian noticed it, but did any of us notice the TV at all?
Looking around the room, you do eventually all notice that there is a TV playing, the ubiquitous small flat screen that's playing, looks like CNN.
And does it talk about the date or anything?
Yeah, it's December 27th.
And what's the last date that I remember?
The last thing you remember is paying your water bill on November 10th.
Oh my gosh. So I've lost 7 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah. Finding out that it's 6 weeks later is more than a little disorienting.
Yeah. What have I been doing for the last 6 weeks? So I'm assuming Anthony and I were the ones taking the surveillance photos of Julian and whoever he was talking to. That's where my brain goes to, but I look at Anthony, I'm like, what's the last date you remember?
That's a good question, James. What's the last date I remember?
Last date you remember is November 20th.
Okay. Why would I remember late November?
It was your dad's birthday, and you remembered to buy him a card this year because he gave you such grief last year for forgetting to get him a card on his birthday. When in truth, you are actually on an assignment. So you remembered to buy your father a card this year, but that's the last time you remember a clear date as to doing something on a date.
Yeah, it must be late November. Why?
The last date I remember is I paid my water bill on November 10th, but anything after that until today, I don't remember.
Listen, it's probably the accident. It'll come back.
Let's hope.
So when somebody asks a question like that, like right out loud, other people might start thinking about that. Where does my memory start to fail?
Your memory is about mid-November. You clearly remember on November 15th, you submitted a paper for peer review, but that's the last day that you remember doing anything clearly date associated.
Okay.
I look at Nick and Julian. So I know what Anthony does for a living. What do you two do for a living?
He's got his mouth full. I can go first. I'm actually a anthropology student.
And you, Julian?
I do stuff.
Oh. Stuff. I put my fingers up in quotes.
Not anymore, you don't.
All right. Are we all about done here?
Yeah.
Seems like.
All right. I left handcuffs back on Julian. And then I get up so I can go pay the bill.
The rest of you are getting your various accoutrements together and stuff. And Cassie slides out of the booth, gets up, and goes over to the register. Cassie, you walk up to the register, and it's at the far end of the counter. She's standing, staring at the register with this kind of blank expression on her face. You get all the way up to the register and is standing right in front of her, and she's just staring at the buttons.
Ma'am, we'd like to pay. Is that okay?
She blinks once, and then her eyes snap open all the way. I'm sorry. I must have been zoning out or something. I'm sorry. Did you want to pay?
I would love to. Are you okay? Are you feeling okay?
I have had this pounding headache for a couple hours now, and it's just not going away. I'm sorry. I shouldn't make my problems your problems. Here. She takes the check from you. All right. And your total is, and she rattles off a number and kind of pushes the credit card machine, little credit card buttons towards you.
I reach in my back pocket. I hopefully have a wallet or something back there.
You still have a wallet. Yep.
Oh, good. I pull out my debit card and use that in the credit card machine.
It takes a long time to certify. Oh, I'm sorry, the credit card machine actually isn't going to work. The phone line is down. Do you have cash? She crinkles her face up.
I look in my wallet. I'm assuming I have at least some cash.
You have a little bit of cash, yeah. I mean, you've got enough to cover the bill.
I hand that over to make sure I include, a pretty nice tip on there as well.
That almost cleans you out of cash. She takes it. All right, and your change is...
Go ahead and keep the change. You're fine.
Oh, thank you. She puts it in her apron, pats her apron, and then goes back to looking at the keys on the keyboard and rubs the bridge of her nose.
I look at her a little bit with concern on my face, but I turn around and go back to my group.
The other three of you, as she's over there paying the bill, I assume you get up, get your stuff. Doing anything in particular?
Nah, we'll probably just meet her at the door.
Jake, are you also meeting, or are you having to be dragged kicking, screaming out of the restaurant?
Well, I guess I'll be meeting. I'll turn to Silas's character. Anthropology, huh?
Yeah.
It's odd that they would send an anthropology student on a prisoner transfer.
I am not disagreeing with you.
You guys step out into the chill evening air again and head over across the street to the pink light of the Sundowner Inn Motel. The small building in the front is the check-in office. It is built in a very 1950s way with a small awning and a big pink neon sign that has a palm tree on it, which is ironic because you haven't seen a palm tree since you've gotten here. The door has an open sign on it. There's a woman inside behind a desk. You can see it through the windows.
Evening, ma'am.
She looks up. Welcome to the Sundowner Inn. She stands up.
We had a car accident up the road. We were looking to find a phone. The diner's phone lines are down, evidently.
Oh, yeah, that's the same line we use. I don't think it's going to work. They usually get it fixed within a couple hours, though. Is anyone hurt? I could try.
No, we're all right for now. What are the rates here like?
They're actually pretty reasonable. She goes over the paperwork with you. For a single, you're looking at $45 a night. For a double, you are looking, obviously, with the additional bed, you're going to be looking at $65 a night. And then we only have one triple, and it's currently being used.
All right, just give me,
Do we want to do two doubles next to each other?
yeah, 2 doubles is fine.
Do you have any next to each other with a door that can go between the room?
We don't.
Hmm.
We can get you next door, room 1 and room 2.
Sounds great.
All right, fantastic. She does some work on a 1991 desk computer. You can actually hear the keys clackety clack, 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 clackety clack. She seems nice enough, wearing a name tag that says Patricia. And then she finally looks up. All right, and your total will be is this going to be charged to one card or multiple cards?
It'll be cash.
Cash? Okay, fantastic. You tap tap tappity tap. All right, then your total comes to 2130.
I go through my wallet, relieve myself of probably a large share of my cash.
A good portion of your cash, yes. She takes it and she gives you the appropriate change, hands you 2 keys. Room that has literally R1 and R2 on it.
Make sure you get a receipt.
Just sign here, please. Thank you. All right, and it's going to be room 1 and room 2 as you exit the building. It'll be on the south end.
All right. Thanks. I take the keys,
Absolutely.
head towards the motel.
You guys head down to the rooms. Room 1 and 2 you can see on the map there. Who gets room 1, who gets room 2?
I'll take room 2, and I'll take custody of Jake's character and give the other key to Cassie.
He hands you the key to room 1. It says R1 on it. You enter your rooms. Here is a sage green carpet with slightly darker green blankets on the beds. The beds are double-sized. You know, it's a fairly nice-sized bed for each of you. There is a smaller room here, which you would assume is the bathroom, and a dresser that butts up against it, facing the door that you walked in. There's a window on the back and a window on the front. All in all, it's a pretty comfortable little room.
Great. Did Nicholas follow me in here?
Nicholas, are you hanging out in the parking lot?
I assume that is my accommodations for the evening, so I will follow.
You enter room 2. Anthony and Julian, you enter room 1. Are you just dropping your stuff off and heading up to room 2, or are you guys basically bedding down for a little while and rubbing the tootsies, using the bathroom, which, by the way, most of you have at this point?
I think break time, this is the perfect time for it.
You plop down on the bed. Julian, what are you doing?
I will take a really good look around the room.
Pretty nice little place. Has a very SoCal, Malibu, 50s pseudo-tropical feel to it.
Yeah, I'm sure I've spent worse nights in worse places, so.
Oh, definitely. You spend long nights in worse places. Actually, you both have. This isn't a terrible room. There's no one dead under the mattress.
That we know of yet.
That you know of yet, as you haven't flipped the mattresses up. This is a perfect place for you guys to rest. So you bed down, looking over at what you assume to be a convicted criminal in your room. Nicholas, are you digging into the books at all when you get into the room?
Unless I am completely overcome with the need to sleep, I'd take a look at them. First thought, and are these my books? Did I bring them, or are these somebody else's books?
You don't recognize any of the books or the paperwork that's in here. There's the small, thin book of poetry. There's the small leather-bound book that's held shut with a rubber band. When you take the rubber band off and look inside of it, it looks like a journal. And the textbook-like book that looks like it's a translation book, a guide to language, perhaps.
From and to which languages?
Slovak or Russian, Ukrainian, that area.
Looking at some of the other things, is anything else written in said languages or not?
Digging into the duffel bag at the bottom, you do find a piece of folded up leather that is covered in writings, and the writing is difficult to discern because it's extremely old, but it does look to be written in a very, very early version of Ukrainian.
So that's interesting for all sorts of reasons. Assuming there were no interruptions, I would absolutely love to take some time and try to figure out what that is and what it's all about.
So what are you digging into first before we wrap up tonight? Which book or resource?
Let's start with the most recent and sort through that piece of leather with old writing on it.
Make me an anthropology roll. Okay, nothing you recognize, but maybe with more research. I'm going to go ahead and bring this to a close tonight. I want to thank everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed yourself in Act 1 of our investigation here. We hope you guys will join us next time.